Here's something that European CFOs don't know about going through their first US GAAP audit to bring in US stakeholders. And that's specifically how to work with your auditors. When you're doing an audit in the US, it's going to be much different than any audit you've had to do locally. And not only from a materiality perspective, that they need to lower their materiality and test a lot more transactions, but also in just the way that US auditors approach going through an audit and how they need to get comfortable with your company. So be prepared for a lot more walkthroughs initially about what you're doing, understanding the internal controls, even if they're not testing the internal controls, making sure you have a lot of memos and policies and procedures documented because they'll need this to get through their work. But also understanding where you might have some room to push back, because European companies that I work with typically don't have that type of relationship with their local auditors, but sometimes the US companies or the US audit firms will push back on certain things that you actually have a little bit of room on in terms of things you might not want to disclose or ways they can get around testing things. So it can be important to kind of know when to push back on them to make your audit as timely and efficient as possible. And this is something that I help companies with because they don't really understand those dynamics at play. And by the way, there may be an element of working with both their US and their local audit firms. So you need to make sure you manage that process so it doesn't become disjointed from a communications perspective.